From the vast interior desert wilderness to the magnificent blue coastlines, Australia is a diverse and unique a country as one can imagine. And here in tropical North Queensland, where the rainforest meets the reef, Cairns is a destination one must explore. There is a purpose upon us to seek, discover, and learn. Explore traditions and cultures while enriching our own. To dance in the intersection of talent and passion. Be nourished by the earth's bounty. To value the experience of nature on its own terms. And continue to be inspired by the small things and little ones. Here, the destination is the experience.